Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
Good morning, bonjour, comment ça va? Ni hao, hola, Ohio, bienvenue, Wan Ying, bienvenidos, Yokoso, and welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each and every week, I have the privilege and honor of coming into your home and taking you on a journey to places you've never been before, to stories you've never heard before. Each week, I get the magnificent opportunity to take you on a mental, physical, and spiritual adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. And because I know the power of stories, I am confident that somewhere along the line, either this week or next week or 3 months from now, somewhere along the line, you're going to hear a story that's going to move you. Something that makes you look at the world in a different way. Each and every week, my mission is to create a sound that resonates with you. And you can take that thing that resonates through you and use it as a bridge, as a template, as an inception point to get you to begin the journey of discovering the value of your own stories. The value of your own stories. The other day, actually, a good friend of mine, Marjorie from France, bonjour, comment ça va? She asked me, she says, Barry, you were talking about stories. And she says, and you were talking about the Marine Corps. And I was wondering why you were saying in your Facebook post, why you didn't want to talk about the bad things. And what I said to her was, because that's not what I think about when I think about the Marine Corps. And as I started to think to myself, just the things that I can talk all day long about the racism. I can talk all day long about the things that has happened in the Marine Corps. But when I think about the Marine Corps, I think about it on a much higher level. In fact, as I began to think about what the Marine Corps meant to me, I realized that I've told this story before. I have. Those of you who know I'm a Toastmaster. In 2009, when I first competed in the International Speech Contest, they asked me to talk about something that I knew, and I said, I know about Star Wars. And I created this speech called Return of the Jedi. And in that speech, I made the comparison between being a Jedi Knight and being a Toastmaster. And the funny thing about stories, when you understand stories, it's funny because then you begin to see how it all fits together, how something that you did so long ago just really prepared you for what you're going to do right now. So I'm going to give you that speech and let you see how I got there in the first place. I had only been in Toastmasters for 4 months, but I had been in the Marine Corps for 14 years. So I started as a long time ago, 43 years to be exact, in a city far, far away. I saw the movie Star Wars, and it changed my life. For me, it wasn't the aliens or the spaceships or even the costumes that got me so excited. No, for me, it was the whole concept of the Force. I can remember looking at the screen and listening to Obi-Wan Kenobi tell Luke Skywalker about the Jedi. about the Force. Luke, the Force is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us. It binds us. It brings the galaxy together. When I heard that, that was it for me. I ran home. Mom, I'm going to be a Jedi Knight when I grow up. Okay, but don't forget to take out that damn garbage before you leave and make up your bed too. I'm tired of talking to you about it. She didn't understand. How could she? I saw Star Wars over 200 times in the theater. Seriously. Now, I realize that there are still some of you out there. Yeah, in fact, Marjorie told me yesterday she has never seen Star Wars. It makes me almost want to cry. So please allow me to start from the beginning, just so we're all on the same page. This is a lightsaber. It is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster or a gun. It is, as Obi-Wan once said, an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi were the guardians of truth and justice in the Old Republic. For the Jedi, their power flowed from the Force. Now, the amazing thing about being a Jedi is the fact that they walked around with all that power on their hip. They would wear their lightsabers underneath their robes, so you never really knew when you were in the presence of a Jedi Knight. You could be standing right next to one, and the only thing that you would know is that there was something different about that person. But the moment a conflict arose, the moment that you saw him standing there using the Force, it would be at that moment, that exact moment when you would know without a shadow of a doubt that you were in the presence of a Jedi Knight. As I started thinking about what it meant to be a Marine to me, I began to really put together that how the same characteristics that it took to be a Jedi Knight, the same strength, the same dedication, the same perseverance, the same fellowship, the same brotherhood, the same get it done attitude, those same qualities that are found in Jedi Knights are exactly what you find in being a United States Marine. So, and I realize that since only 7% of the population has ever served in any service, please allow me to start from the beginning, just so we're all on the same page. This is the symbol of the United States Marine Corps. It is called the EGA. And it is the symbol of the United States Marine Corps. The EGA means Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. Small. Can be made into different sizes. Simple. There's a simple elegance to its design. But yet, It serves as the symbol of the strength and power of the United States of America. And for those of us who have worn that symbol, we understand that some of our power flows from that symbol. For 245 years, the United States Marine Corps has been the guardians, the protectors, the defenders of the Constitution of the United States all over the world. We defended liberty and justice. And we who have worn that symbol understand our responsibilities, not just today, but for always. It is inside of us. It is who we are. And the amazing thing about being a Marine is the fact that we walk around with all this power in our hearts and in our minds, so you never really know when you're in the presence of a United States Marine. You could be standing right next to one, maybe in the break room, maybe on the bus going to work, maybe standing in line in Mariano's or in France, Montprix, or maybe in Target. And the only thing that you know is that there's something different about that person. But the moment your child needs to be taught a subject, the moment when that fire needs to be put out, the moment when your community needs to be protected, the moment that your company, your business needs to get that order out, the moment that you need anything absolutely done today, it will be at that moment. That exact moment when you will know without a shadow of a doubt that you are in the presence of a United States Marine. Hoorah. That's what it means to be a Marine. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I get a chance. We're going to take a break, and I'm going to get a chance to bring on Gem Hunter Story Show 2 of America's finest, of America's Jedi Knights. You guys know us as United States Marines. I'll see you on the other side. First of all, good morning, Semper Fi Marines. Hoorah!
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure and honor of introducing you to Sergeant. In fact, you know what? Introduce you. Just go ahead and say your name. I want them to hear it. Wait, let me do it in this way. The gunnery sergeant, long time. In a loud and vigorous roar. All right, go ahead and tell us who you are, ladies.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Lee Mariano. I am a former Marine Sergeant E5, and I am just so excited to be here with you this morning. Barry, your story was so inspirational. I cannot wait to hear more. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Lee's saying that because Lee is a Trekkie by birth, but she evolved to Star Wars. So she got that. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then, of course, we have a familiar face, the person who started this whole avalanche of comments. I think every WM in the Marine Corps came out, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, look at all these WMs. So let me reintroduce you to Corporal Sonia
Elbow Timmons.
Elbow Timmons. I got to get that name right. Good morning. Can we hear you this morning?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you again for having me. I am excited to be here once again, especially with a fellow Marine sister. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sonia, adjust your camera a little bit. We know that all Marines have this light and halo around us, so just kind of dim it down just a little bit and stuff. Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's a little better. That's a little better. All right, let's get right back. Let's get right into it, ladies. The reason why I did this show, and people were saying to me, why don't you bring all the services in? And I give much respect for all the sisters who have served, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. But what I realized, because of what Corporal Sonia said, I realized I knew nothing about WMs. I didn't know your stories. I've worked with WMs. I had good friends and I knew nothing about it. And it was almost disrespectful as a storyteller and a Marine not to know your story. So this day is for you. So let me ask some questions. Sergeant Lee, and I'll just go your rank and your name. Sergeant Lee, what made you decide to become a Marine?
Oh, I've been asked that question a few times. And, when I was in high school, you look at your life and you think about, what are you going to do? How is your future going to be? How are you going to create a new life for yourself? And for me, I knew I wanted to go into the military. And as I started looking at all the services and the branches, of course, growing up in Las Vegas, the Air Force was right there. And so everyone assumed I would go into the Air Force because that's what women do. It was the smart choice. You all know what I'm saying, right? It was the smart choice to go into the Air Force. But one conversation with the Marine recruiter, and honestly, it was their snap. And it was the pop, and it was the way they carried themselves compared to all the other military services. And the decision was made. For me, there was no looking back. And so as I talked to them, and they informed me all about the Marine Corps, and it was the most difficult military branch in the United States, and it was such a small population. And at the time, I want to say there was maybe a total of 200,000 Marines, active duty. There was all these things that showed me just how difficult it would be to be a Marine. You go to basic training, not everyone passes. You go to basic training, they're going to break you down. They're going to build you into something else. And then when I started talking about it, people were like, oh no, don't go into the Marine Corps. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Women don't make it in the Marine Corps. As a Black woman, you really aren't going to make it in the Marine Corps because you're not going to fit in. And so all of that motivated me, and something grew inside of me that I was going to show every single one of them. I'm going to show every single one of them. You doubt me, I will show you exactly what I can do. I will become a U.S. Marine. I will be a hard-charging devil dog. I will do it all, and nothing is going to stop me. And you wait till I come home in my dress blues, and I'm looking sharp, and I am so it was something about it. It was something about being a U.S. Marine that I knew was for me. It was in my soul that I had to be a U.S. Marine. And I signed in early, right? I joined the delayed entry program at 17, the year before I started my senior year in high school. And then a month after I graduated, I was off to Paris Island. So once I made that decision, there was no looking back, and I've never regretted it. Not one day in my entire life, I never regretted making that decision to join Marine Corps.
Wow. And so for those of you who thought maybe my opening dialogue and speech about being a Jedi and being a Marine was like, maybe that's a little bit over the top. Excuse me, what'd you say? No, did you hear what she said? In her soul. That's why the only thing, when she said former Marine, now Sonia, you know that's not true, right? You know they ain't never been
Marine, always a Marine.
Right.
Exactly. If President Biden called up, okay, former Marines, okay, Sergeant Lee would be right there, ready to go, just like, let me just find my uniform. Dang, where's my cover? Does my cover still fit? Yeah, I got that. Yeah, okay, cool. So, Corporal Sonia, let's because Corporal Sonia has a really interesting job. She's a peer support specialist. She has overcome so many things in her life, and now she is drawn to go back to help others, because that's what being a Marine is about. Always, you never leave a man behind. Ever. We believe in that. And Corporal Sonia is taking it to the next level. So, Corporal Sonia, tell the audience what was. It's difficult being a Marine just as a male. How was it being for you, being a woman and a Black woman in the Marine Corps?
First of all, I want to say that, like the sergeant over here, we have some similarities and we have some differences. I, on one hand, had always been told women don't go into the military. But when I graduated high school early, and I knew I wasn't ready to go to college just yet. Mama said I had to do something, and I saw my mother, who was widowed and raising 9 kids on her own, struggling to send the rest of my siblings to college. I didn't want to put that burden on my mom, so I went to the military. And like the sergeant, when I got to the recruiting station, there was Army, there was Navy. Not what I was looking for. It just didn't look right to me. However, and I say it didn't look right because there was no about them. There was no pride. One of the recruiters was even chewing tobacco when they talked to me. And I was like, ooh. And I turned around and I saw Staff Sergeant Frankie Murchison. I still remember his name. Standing in his dress blues, cover on, and he said, come down here, you don't want them. He talked to me about the military and everything. And I signed that day, went in open contract. Contract, and I never looked back. And my thing was, because you told me I couldn't do it. When I called my mom and I said, I'll see you in a couple of months, she was like, you so hard-headed, you not going to listen to them people. You won't be able to do it. And it was that fueled me. I'm not going to give them the benefit of saying I told you so. So the more you told me I couldn't do it, the more it pushed me to make sure I got it done. And when I got in Paris Island, I learned that you get the job done. You get the job done. And that's still some characteristics I carry with me today.
I want to take
go ahead.
Thank you. I want to take a second to introduce you to, this is General Lorna Malak. And the thing about it is, she is the first Black female general in the Marine Corps. Now, let me preface this. The Marine Corps was the last service to even let black people in. Okay, that was again, and it wasn't until late in after World War II or during World War II, and even modern day when what was his name? I forgot the secretary of the Leo Panetta. When Panetta let women into all jobs, the Marine Corps was the only service that said, maybe we should hold up on that a little bit. So this is the first black female general. So I want to ask you guys, knowing the history of the Marine Corps, the racism in the Marine Corps in general, and then of course we have sexism in the United States and in the Marine Corps. It's kind of like we just kind of kept a special. Was it hard was it scary? What was the scary moment that you had? Sergeant Lee, go ahead and you go first. What was the scary moment that you had when you realized that you had to do more because you were a woman and because you were black?
Yeah, it was when I was promoted to corporal. It was when I was promoted to corporal because then I had male Marines who had to report to me. And, of course, prior to that, I'd been in PT, physical fitness, for those who don't know that term. But when we ran PT every day, I had to be just as good because, and good, bad, or indifferent, the male Marines always expected the female Marines to be behind. They expected us to be weaker. They expected us to need help. And that wasn't for me. That wasn't what I wanted to do because I knew if I wanted to be respected, then I need to be as good as or better than some of the male Marines. And I knew I wasn't going to beat some of them. I mean, you had some who were running 3 miles in 16 minutes. It wasn't going to happen. That's not me, right? It's like, go forth and do great things. But I knew that I had to be better than them. And then when I was promoted to corporal, I had pushback because I was a female Marine. And I'm sure, even though we worked together, even though I interacted with some Marines outside of my immediate workplace and all of those, that when I was promoted to corporal, that, there were the side eyes, there were the looks, and I had to command presence. I had to make sure that they knew that I meant business. And yes, we could party on the weekend, but when we were at work, I was corporal and you had to understand that. And so there were times where I had to become stronger than I ever thought I could. And it was a challenge, but it wasn't something that I showed. And, good, bad, or indifferent, you can't show weakness. You just can't show weakness. You had to show strength all the time. And I worked in legal. I mentioned to Barry before, I worked in legal. So we did court martials at Cherry Point. And, we saw all of the summary court martials, general court martials, Article 32s for every crime committed on base. Every crime. So when there were crimes against women, as one of the only NCOs at the legal center, it was up to me to what charges would be brought on for that Marine.
Really? You had to make that decision? Wow.
Yeah. So I would look at the investigation. I would determine what charges needed to be placed on that Marine, and then I would take it to the attorney, to the prosecuting attorney. But I was the female Marine who did that, and there was only a few of us, and so it was a heavy burden on me to, especially when it came to crimes against women that were happening on base. But I knew not only did I have to do the right thing as a woman, but I had to do the right thing as a Marine, because as a Marine, we should be held to a higher standard. We are not like everyone else. We just aren't. And I believe that to this very day. Marines are not like everyone else. We are better than everyone else. I'm just going to say it. I truly believe that.
And just to tell you how the universe works, Sergeant Lee worked in the JAG, the what's it called? What does JAG stand for?
Well, it was
the Judge Advocate, right?
Advocate General's office, yeah.
And Corporal Sonia was a brig officer. She worked in the brig. Just to tell you how the universe, I did not plan this, guys. I did not. This is the power of stories. When you met Corporal Sonia last week, I was surprised when she told me that. When I put out the post, calling all Marines, come on. Sergeant Lee came on. I just found out, and when she said that, I was like, "Oh my God!" So now we had Sergeant Lee's feelings and thoughts about that. Now, Corporal Sonia, you dealt with putting the guys in jail, and you're a woman. What was that like for you?
Oh, working in the brig as a female was trying, I'll say. I had a lot of, doing the searches or doing the counts. I had a lot of brothers who would just get naked and was, hide in the cell, come in here and find me. And, a lot of people I had to write up. But that wasn't my scariest moment, being a brig guard.
What was your scariest?
It was actually the people I worked with.
Ooh.
I had a commanding officer who I know, but without a shadow of a doubt, was racist to the core. And it was around Desert Storm. My unit had been put on, to get ready to go. And my commanding officer called me into his office and told me point blank that when we got there, he was going to shoot me before the enemy had a chance. Luckily,
say that. No, you know what? Say that again. Say that again. Because this is broadcast all over the world. Say that again. Say it.
I said my commanding officer called me into his office and told me point blank he was going to shoot me before the enemy had a chance. Now, because of everything that had been happening in the unit, me being black and being a woman, by that time I had started carrying a mini recorder, which was against the rules. But it was that thinking that actually saved me. And that was over in Okinawa, Japan. I can call his name. I can see his face to this day.
Don't say his name. Legally, don't say.
No, I'll never do that. No, but to this day, as a Marine, I know to CYA. Cover your behind, no matter what happens. And so that was my most scariest moment in the Marine Corps. And I remember having to, we had a black chaplain who sent his driver over to the barracks. It was two of us, two blacks in the command, and they put us in a hamper, one of the hampers, the big hampers that you carry laundry in, and pushed us into the back of this van and took us to the chaplain's quarters. And it was there that we wrote our statements, and I gave him the tape, and it was the chaplain that delivered it to the JAG office. And
wow.
And that was when I was removed from that command to a different command. So yeah, being a Marine was hard, but even still, they tried to get me to sign out. No, I signed for 4. I'm getting this job done, and I still stayed in another 2.5 years. So it was hard in the Marine Corps, but I earned that title, and wasn't nobody finna take that from me. So.
And see, and that's what, I don't know, there was a Facebook discussion, and I was saying that I didn't want to talk about, and in my Facebook, I don't want to talk about the bad. It's not that I'm not aware of the bad things. We as African Americans, we endure this every single day in a variety of different ways. Like a gemstone, no gemstone, and I showed you the pictures of where sapphires come from. It's some guy digging in water, muddy, nasty, disease-filled water, looking for that gemstone that you were looking for. But that's not what we buy when we buy a sapphire. We buy the finished product. You know, what you're looking at today, ladies and gentlemen, is the finished product. Sergeant Lee and Corporal Sonia, that's what it's about when you have endured that pressure. When you have endured those different things, and as Corporal Sonia said, the two people were in the hamper. Was it you and another WM, or was it you and a guy?
It was myself and a male Marine.
Oh,
He
and they
too.
put you in a hamper. We're talking, I'm sorry, what year was this? 1860 what? Well, I'm sorry, what year did this happen?
No, this was 1991.
Oh, you mean like in the 20th century? Oh, so in the 20th
century.
century, not 1960, but in the 20th century, 1991, you had to be put in a hamper. You know, like those big. You see them old like Chinese laundry movies or industrial movies. The big hampers. They had to put two Marines in a hamper, like secret. The black ops kind of stuff, just to let the JAG officers, what Sergeant Lee was doing, know what was going on.
Yes.
So it's not about, the Marine Corps is this special magical place. The same thing with the Jedi. Those of you know, Darth Vader was a Jedi. Okay, so there's again the similarities. It's not perfect. Just like the environment where gemstones or sapphires are created, but it's what comes out of that. What comes out of that? So, next question. What is this? And this is really special. Let me switch this for a second. Hold on. So Sergeant Lee actually legally defended this symbol. So what does this symbol mean to you, Sergeant Lee?
Oh, there is power in symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
And the eagle, globe, and anchor to me is the most amazing emblem for any military service, for any military branch. And when you say, I defended it, that's exactly what I did. When I left Cherry Point, North Carolina, and I came and started working at headquarters here in Arlington, and at the Pentagon, whenever someone wanted to use the Marine Corps emblem for any reason, you have it on hats, you have it on shirts, you have it on other, stickers or whatever it was. They wanted to use it in any form. It had to come through my office. Mm-hmm. And so we would do it would be a full-blown analysis of whether or not they could actually use the Marine Corps emblem. And there were times where we denied it. Nope, you can't use it. Nope, we don't like how you're using it. Nope, there is no using it. And there were times that we did, we said, okay, but, we had to be very careful about what the Marine Corps emblem was used for, because it stands for something. And no, it's not perfect, right? No, it's not perfect. No, it's not, there's no perfection in this world. But for me, the Marine Corps emblem and the Marine Corps was about as close to it as I could get. And so I am extremely loyal to the Marine Corps for what they did for me and what I became as being a Marine. And we had to be careful about where that emblem was used, because it stood for something. It stood for not only our military branch, but it stood for all the Marines, current and former and future, and what they were joining and how they would be perceived. And so, it's something I look at it even today, and I always say it's the most beautiful thing ever when it's gold and it's shiny and it's just sitting there, it's one of those things. So it means a lot to me. And I've been a Marine so there's that beautiful gold one. There it is. Look at Curdy. But it means something. It means something, and it stands for, just power and strength and community. And I mean, our whole thing is God, country, Corps, right? So, that's what we follow God, we protect our country, and we are loyal to the Marine Corps. So that's what that means for me.
And I want our viewers to know, not just here in the United States, but also internationally, you often hear all the things that's going on with this country and people of color and African Americans. And I just want you to realize that you are hearing actual feelings and emotions from not just two black people, but two black women who have endured all kinds of things. And yet not only in America, but just in the United States Marine Corps. And did you hear the sound of Sergeant Lee? Did you hear it? Now same question to you, Corporal Sonia, but what I want to twist it a little bit. Since you were in the brig where these were guys, men and women, who didn't believe in this, as Sergeant Lee said, this beautiful thing. You know, I describe it as being a Jedi Knight. But yet you worked around people who was just like, oh man, this ain't nothing. I mean, had no respect. How do you feel about this symbol? And how did you keep yourself moving forward despite all the antagonists, all the people telling you that you were stupid for even believing in this?
Well, let me be clear. I am loyal and I actually love the Marine Corps. Despite all. The Marine Corps means to me, and this is what it taught me, that eagle means that I can soar in whatever position I find myself in life. I will take the lead. That glow wherever I go, and that anchor, no matter where I'm at, I will stay grounded. And the character, the honor, the courage, the perseverance to stay the course and make sure I get that job done. That's what the Marine Corps taught me. And to this day, as I travel through life, and I said last week, I went through homelessness, a lot of adversities. But at every stage, if I could just call in my head, pick them up, set them down, march from the waist down. At every stage, if I could remind myself, you made it through Paris Island. You made it. You earned that Eagle Globe and Anchor. This is nothing compared to that. And that is what has kept me strong, along with my faith in God. That is what keeps me moving in this course of life. And that is what I teach to the veterans that I work with every day. Not all of them went to the Marine Corps. But they all have tasted or seen Marine Corps characteristics.
Wow.
And I stand on that.
Wow.
So yes, regardless of what happened in the Marine Corps, the bad, the good far outweighed the bad for me. And to this day, when I hear the Marine Corps hymnal, when I hear anything, it's attention, salute, whatever it is. And I will call anybody else on it if they don't get in order.
Oh, wow. I want to introduce you. Thank you, Corporal Sonny. I want to introduce you I want you to understand that the strength that you hear in these women, this is what happens. This is Captain, I want to make sure I get her name right, Captain Oreri Ba. She is the first female. Notice I didn't say the first black female. She is the first female MV-22 Osprey pilot. This is what she flies. They didn't even have, I'm sorry. I'm an old Marine, okay? I was in the Marine Corps. I served in Cherry Point too, but Sergeant Lee, I was in Cherry Point when they had, the propeller kind of plane, when they could contact, the double, I'm real old, that kind of when people would target by looking out the window. I'm real old. So they didn't have these. But imagine, and you can tell from her last name, she's not necessarily American. In fact, the general, you know where the general's from? Let me get her. Let me pull her back up again. The first Marine Corps black female general, she's from Jamaica. Yeah, man, she born in Kingston, Jamaica, and she moved to Brooklyn, New York, and she felt the power of the United States and the Marine Corps, and she worked that hard to be from an immigrant, a black woman who was an immigrant, and yet she became a general in the United States Marine Corps. So what you're hearing, the things, the commercials you see, and you feel that sense, that's not just advertising. That's what we are. That's who we are. So I'm just looking at time. Tell me what you do now and how you have used the things. And Corporal Sonia kind of got into it, and I want to hear more. But Sergeant Lee, what do you do now that you have embodied, or you use some of the stories and the characteristics and the traits that you learned in the Marine Corps? How has that helped you today?
Yeah, so gosh, it's helped me in several ways. A little bit about me. I'm a domestic abuse survivor, and the Marine Corps actually, when I was going through that, my colonel at the law center in Cherry Point actually was, and my master gunnery sergeant pulled me up to Arlington. They actually saved me. They actually said, I told them what was going on because they had left. And they pulled me into Arlington with them. So as a way to protect myself and my son. And so, so I used my strength of being a Marine to make it to the other side and to be better and to, do better for myself and my son. I then went into human resources. And so my day job is I'm now a chief HR officer. I am a senior leader in human resources. I sit at the table with the big dogs, with the CEO, and they're always surprised at first when they find out that I'm a Marine. And then they kind of pull back and they say, "Oh, well, I guess we can't bully you." No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Because I will oh yeah, I will stand tall right here, and I will make sure you understand who I am. And so that, being a Marine has also helped me, in that executive role, being a leader, standing tall, speaking at board meetings where others shy away from. No, you put on your pants one leg at a time, just like I do. I work with 4-star generals. You don't scare me. Right. You don't scare me. And so, it's helped me that way. And then now I'm also a transformational life and success coach. I help women who want to be leaders, who want to use the power and strength of their voice. And whether they're a Marine or military or had no military experience whatsoever, I help them understand just how strong they are, that they already have it inside of them to make it, right? If I can make it in the Marine Corps in one of the least welcoming military branches for Black women, then if I can do that, then they can do anything they set their minds to, and I help them with that. Everything that I've accomplished, I know this foundation was set when I went to Parris Island, and I give credit to the Marine Corps for creating the woman that I am today. And helping me get to this level in my life.
Wow. Just in case, Sergeant Lee, I'm not saying you might have to answer that question because I wasn't sure if you were really committed to that. I didn't really feel the fact. I didn't really feel it. I'm not sure. You sure? Corporal Sonia. First of all, I want to thank you for the way you broke down the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. I've never heard it. I mean, the Eagle made you realize that you can soar. I'm like, ooh, is it Sunday already? Because this is church going on right here. So, Corporal Sonia, how have you? We know what I said that you were peer support last time you were here, a peer support specialist. How has your training as a Marine helped you? And we're getting to the end, so just a quick answer. Go ahead. How has the Marine Corps helped you in what you do?
Real quick, as a peer specialist, I am actually one of the peers across the nation who are doing things that no other peer has done. I'm figuring out, jumping through the hoops, figuring out what needs to be done to actually put into place some things that I felt and that the women that I work with feel need to be put in place for women veterans in the VA system. and I got that from the Marine Corps. Get the job done. Tell me no, I'll have to go around. Right? No retreat, no surrender. That's where I'm at when it comes to my job.
Wow. Wow. Well, ladies, I can just say from the bottom of my heart, the time is up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The whole world thanks you for sharing your stories. Again, we have to have you come back another time. Thank you so now you see what the purpose of this show is about. Creating value, getting people to discover the value of your story and how your story resonates with other people and touch people's lives. So again, thank you so much. Simplify and hoorah. And to my audience, thank you so much. And see you next week on Gem Hunter Stories. Again, my name is Barry Mixon. I am a gemological storyteller, and I hope you take time to discover the value of your own stories. Au revoir. Thank you, ladies. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
Bye-bye.